Hello, everybody. We are here at Solid State Logic HQ with the lovely Luke. Hi, Luke. Thank you very much for inviting us down and showing us some new stuff. We're going to be looking at the Oracle a bit later, as well as some of the smaller, exciting new products you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
But right now, this minute, as well as being next to my dear friend, Stefano Givettas from School Farm, who many of you will recognise, we're also in front of this lovely beast. The first thing that struck me when I walked in the room was like, it's massive! I love it! And then I touched a fader.
It does the thing, doesn't it? It's
that is
you can't quite appreciate how nice a fader can feel until you feel something quite as smooth as that.
I think you should just sell faders individually, just as some sort of
stress relief,
as a therapeutic, like instead of the squeezy ball things.
We'll send it to our product.
Sit there and
stress fader.
Yeah, a stress fader.
That and then the mute button as well. I think as a combination package, that's
a sensory desk.
Yeah. So this hasn't got a Solid State Logic logo on it.
No.
So can you please explain the heritage of the forerunners of this beautiful thing, and then what's it doing just outside Oxford?
We'll work slightly backwards.
Yeah.
So
okay, cool.
Harrison Audio is a legacy audio company from the heartland of America, from Nashville, and they claim to be the inventor of the inline console, which is what this console is based upon. It's the original 32, and this is now the 32 Classic. Mm-hmm. Now, Harrison Audio have had a bit of a past of being sort of pro audio in the music scene, and then they've sort of diverted off to sort of post-production and cinema, and now they're back under the sort of the stewardship of Solid State Logic. So I think it must have been late 2021 that essentially Audiotonics, the overlords of Solid State Logic, acquired Harrison Audio, and they've been brought into the Solid State Logic sort of stables. And yeah, we've basically now got a console that is the antithesis of a Solid State Logic product. So where we might be familiar with AWS's dualities and the origins, this console is a 32-channel inline console that does everything that the SSL doesn't do. It's sort of a lovely partnership between the old adage of you record on a Harrison, you mix on an SSL. Yeah. That's what they say, right? Yeah. And now it's viable. So yeah, we've got a legacy 32-channel inline console, as the 32 Classic here stands, and it's made in Oxford. We make these in the factory just over the road here, next to our Solid State Logic consoles, so we can bring the level of quality that this product deserves and sort of bring it in at a price point that is really achievable for lots of modern tracking studios. And this is very much a tracking console.
Yeah. And I think it's important that they're made here as well. So we've just been over to the factory when we arrived, and we've seen empty frames being loaded with modules, and so if your console breaks down and you're in Cambridge or you've got a service department, it's here. The
same sort of service level that you'll get from Solid State Logic, you'll get for your Harrison console. I mean, they're new, so we haven't had any needs to go and service one in the wild yet, but it's the same thing. They're built to a point where they shouldn't fail, but everything does eventually in the analog land. It is one of these channel strips, pull straight out, turn the console off before you do that, and then swap it, and it's straight back in the way you go. So it's very much designed for the pro audio workflow that you can keep on going. And obviously, you buy a console, you buy a couple of spare channels, and
spare faders. I mean, you probably won't need the spare faders, but my God,
on the bedside table, you need them on the bedside table.
How would you rate the duality fader out of 10 versus the? I mean, this is getting 105 out of 10.
It is a very nice feeling, and they are very well spaced. For me, they got chubby fingers.
Yeah, may as well.
There is a slightly American aesthetic to the build spacing, whereas the duality takes a little bit more dexterity to get to the EQ.
Yeah,
there's no issue with that on here.
It's like looking at a muscle car.
I think that is
it is.
You're looking at a very sort of niche a British sports car with a duality. We're talking our Lotuses, our McLarens, and here you've got a Cadillac, right?
Yeah.
You've got big, luxurious, leather-clad
6-liter V8.
not as fast as the engine will make it sound, but you've got all the power behind it. And look, we'll talk about sort of the details of the console, but ultimately it's the sound of this thing. It's a transformer-based console. So we've got Jensen Transformer mic pre's.
Nice.
Which is obviously not what we've got on an SSL console. And that's where the comparisons come. Is like you're getting a completely different sound from one of these. And yeah, an SSL will work in any way you want. We spoke earlier about an SSL will work in the way you want it to work, but you work the way this console is going to lend you. Like you're working in the Harrison sort of workflow with this console, and it leads to some very straightforward tracking sessions. Like it's not a complicated desk. You've got a limited palette, but that palette is so musical and so colourful that you don't really feel like you're missing anything.
Yeah.
Like we spoke, there's no dynamics on the console at all, but the way the transformer saturation kicks in quite low level, you almost use the transformer as a sort of saturation come light compressor, and you work into that sound, and it gets very thick and syrupy in a really nice way without the mud. Like you're not feeling like it's getting all sort of hairy around 300-400 hertz, because we'll talk about my favourite bit of the console, the filters that are so musical. You can carve away any of that, and yeah, you can. I mean, when I mix on this, I don't touch anything. I don't need any plugins. I've very little outboard because everything is just there in the console. The EQ sounds beautiful, and just you push it into the mix bus, which has also got transformers on it as well, and it sounds like those 70s records that the original made.
I guess the sound, if the sound matches the visuals, I mean, like you said, it just looks like a big, solid thing, and I'm guessing
and that, honestly, that's how it sounds. It sounds like a big solid thing, but beautiful clarity at the top end, really nice, airy, smooth sort of high frequencies, but the mid-range and the low-end weight just gives it an extra dimension. Definitely nothing like I've ever heard. It's like it's comparable in the sort of that transformer-based sort of sound of those sort of big mid sort of 70s consoles, but it just lends so well to it. It doesn't quite sound like those consoles. It does have its own thing going on, and it's something that I think when people hear it, they're sort of really drawn to, and so it's quite like magical.
Can you take us through the channel strip? So you said it's fairly easy to operate. So it looks so to me. It's interesting actually. So the first thing we do, if we're looking at the top of the channel, is ignore the returns that are on the top of the channel. So we're going to come back to that. Right at the top, we've got a set of returns that work as a second mix bus. So we'll come back to that in a second. Okay.
But right at the top, we've got a transformer-based mic pre, and then we've got a line input and a monitor return, so our input for playback. Now, the interesting thing is all of these sum together. So you are either working with the mic pre, or you're working with the line input, and you're working with the monitor return simultaneously.
Okay.
So in essence, you can actually use this as a 2-channel summing mixer on the way in, just from the monitor playback and the line input. So you've got the mic pre with pad, and you've got the line input with pad, so you can really sort of drive in the level to get the saturation, then bring the level down with sort of the fader. We're then going into the next quirky thing, which is the instrument input. Now, the instrument input is actually pertaining to this combo jack here.
Right.
And it's a quirky feature, but I can bring that mic input or that line input into any channel or every channel. So if we were tracking and, Stefano, you wanted to just like play some bass.
You sure?
Plug it straight.
Sure about that? We've been done with the edit, that's all I can say.
Plug it straight into the combo jack, and you can bring it up on one or all the channels.
Wow.
But what you could do is bring it up on 3 channels and have 3 different EQ settings, and then A/B the different settings in real time, and then record it or sum it. So you could do parallel processing with a piece of hardware that you bought in for the day without having to get it into the patch bay. We can just sort of loop it all through together. So it's just really flexible.
And then blend it together.
And blend it all together.
And, that's really cool.
So you could repeat that 32 times if you felt you needed to. I mean, you shouldn't, but you could. So there's that. And then we come back into our auxiliary sends. We've got one stereo send and we've got 4 sort of mono sends, and they can be pre or post, and they can also feed back from the playback in. They're very flexible, so they can be bringing in monitor returns, they can send playback channels back into the Q sends, but that's sort of our matrixing for sort of however we want to use that. Then we come to the EQ. So this is exactly the same EQ that was in the original 32 Harrison console. Proportional Q, so the more you boost it, the narrower the Q gets. Interestingly, there is no dented pot. So if you are trying to maybe use a stereo pair of inputs, think of it as extra stereo width, because you're not going to match them.
Yes.
But who wants...
It's not a bug, it's a feature, as they say in computer world. Yes.
But if you're miking it twice, you don't want it to sound the same, right? That's the point.
Exactly.
But yeah, really, really musical EQ. So you've got sort of plus minus 10 dB, 2 mid-band, so the low and high mid-band, and then the top and bottom. And then we come to the filters. Now, this is my favourite thing on this console.
You are very excited about the filters, I must admit. I don't think I've ever really been
I don't think
excited
anyone's
about the filter.
been...
No, it's not
until you hear them. They're just... So you've got a high-pass and low-pass filter that the range is way beyond sort of where a traditional high-pass and low-pass filter would be. So the high-pass, is 25 hertz up to 3.15 kilohertz, and the low-pass is 160 hertz all the way up to 20k. So you can completely null a console. So if you want to mess with your house engineer, you go and sort of cross over all the filters. But it's just, you put a kick in and just trim off a little bit of that low end, then whack up the low band, and you just get a weight without any mud. It just sounds fantastic. And it is, obviously, sort of Harrison is this sort of maybe more guitar-based Nashville sound stuff, but running some sort of sampled break beats through this, like I've done some jungle sort of drums, and just the cuttings, you can really notch in your samples, and it just an amen break through that filter.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, I'm going to say it to camera again. I keep asking for I just want the filters.
Just give it the
just
So
so
we
I can
must
get
do the faders and the cut for him.
Yeah.
The faders,
Yeah.
just the filters for
Well,
you.
I pick and mix
I'm happy with the
Harrison's
rest. I'm happy with all the rest.
But that is the filters sound fantastic, and obviously you can bypass the filter and the EQ separately. Interestingly, in a SSL sort of EQ, you got filters then the EQ. In Harrison, it's the other way around, so we're going EQ into filters.
First. Okay.
We then come into our bus routing. So the bus routing is really sort of simple. We've got 8 buses, and it's literally, I'm going to send it to bus 1, bus 2. If I do 1 and 2, I'm sending it to bus 1 and 2. However, I have the bus pan. Now I can send the pan following the bus pan. The bus then follows the pan setting, and I can then split between a stereo pair of buses, but that doesn't change how the channel is feeding the master bus, if that's where it's feeding.
Right, okay.
So I can get quite creative with my routing in that way, or I can use it as a single mono bus send and then still send my pan to my master bus. So that's quite a cool feature. We then come down to 0 dB fader bypass. So even though these are lovely, we can press the 0 dB and take the fader out. And that's really handy, because what happens is you do a mix, and then some idiot comes in and goes, "Oh, feel these faders," and they ruin the mix.
Like I did this morning.
So now I've not ruined my mix because I've taken it out of the fader. So
Great.
Really, really, really helpful for recall and all that kind of stuff. And then obviously we've got the mutes as well, which are just really tantalising.
Yeah, that almost feels like there's some sort of relay action going on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's a
beautiful thing,
a
isn't it?
well-built thing, isn't it? I love it.
And then if we just sort of slightly drop off the channel strip, we then come to our nice big sort of luxurious bench here, which is actually really nice. So we can stick our controllers here. It will fit a nice controller sort of keyboard if you're sort of scoring or sort of have a UF8 and some UF1s. And it will take my weight, so you can. As I said,
it's not going to take mine. I can tell you that.
So it's just like a really sturdy console.
I totally get this. Now, I'll be honest. In the photos, this looks a bit weird. I thought it looks a bit like, I don't know, like it's made out of bits of drain pipe or something. But now I've seen it in the flesh. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
And you've got gaps for cables. So the cables for the UF1 are underneath there, out the way. So if you've got a wide keyboard, you haven't got.
It's built to live in a modern studio. Like, this is not the point of making retro tech. It's got to live with the door. It's got to live with controllers and keyboards. So why wouldn't you make it that way? Yeah?
That's the thing I noticed. It's not a clone of a 40, 50-year-old desk.
No.
It's an adaptation of an old desk, shall we call it. Even just these meters are brilliant because they're always under control.
So this is it. So the idea is when you're tracking, you're looking down at the fade. You're getting everything set. So why would your eyes not look down here for your metering?
Yes.
So we've got our VUs for all our outputs, but our ballistics for the input, it just makes sense.
Even just the LED
Absolutely
appear.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The LED appear when you're setting the gain.
Yeah.
And then you find fader 5 and the meter is always offset. So it looks like you're watching a very small tennis match.
Is that your duality complaint?
No,
Yeah,
it's not a
log that
bug,
one.
it's a feature.
It's a feature. So, I mean, that is, like I said, just coming back to sort of modern feature workflow. I think the elephant in the room is this is actually a fully integrated Dante console.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you can take this desk wherever with a Cat 5. I'm here for the session.
Literally
if
plug
you're
it in
a
and
strong
go.
boy, yeah.
Or you bring your laptop into the studio.
Which
might
is
be the easier way.
oh god, yeah, that's where I always get it wrong.
You could do it that way, right?
Do it that way around. So it depends on the scale that how we build the console, but this 32-channel console comes with a 64 in and out Dante interface.
Right, so just to explain that to our audience who might not understand that, because normally you buy a console like this, you're going to have to factor in a good 5 figures for good quality converters.
And,
to get it
then
in
you've
and
got
out
the
of your
patch
computer.
bay and the cabling and everything else on top. So
So this has got up to 64 channels of
straight
IO
off the desk. So Cat 5 in,
on an Ethernet cable.
Ethernet cable straight in, and it'll come with Dante controller. And it will literally show up. So your patch bay is Dante controller, and that will come on to sort of the workflow of that with some extra Harrison tech. But it essentially means, one Cat 5 in, all of your channel direct output straight into your DAW, and that's it. There's no interfacing. There's no extra cabling. You can recall your patch bay setups via Dante controller, so there's sort of a digital patch bayness to it as well. And the other really cool thing about that whole Dante world is this actually has a 16-channel wide monitoring controller as well. So if you are working in Atmos or any Spartal, you can bring your 16-channel wide audio path back onto the monitor controller, so you remaining in the sweet spot. You don't have to have another monitor control, you don't have to do anything else.
Brilliant.
Feed your direct outs into your DAW or split them via Dante with the insert sends all off to your Sparkle mix bus, so Dolby Atmos controller, and then listen back in real time. So you can be mixing or tracking in 360 all in one place.
With a latency of what, 3 milliseconds,
If
4
that.
milliseconds?
Yeah, we're sub 4 we're sub 4 milliseconds on that. It is future sort of proofed in that respect. It's a classic workflow for a modern studio, and that is the real point of this. Is that if you are a new studio and you want to put in a new console and you haven't got your existing infrastructure, why would you go through all that pain when you can just walk in, plug in a console?
Yeah.
Literally, installs we've had this through the door and making noise in 20 minutes.
That's amazing.
And most of that is getting it through the door because it's so big.
That's amazing. The last console I wired up, it was a second-hand console, and I had a session coming in, and I worked all of Christmas Eve right through Christmas Day, Boxing Day, soldering bloody EDAC
Yeah.
connectors, and then the guy I bought the console from phoned me up and he said, have you started wiring the console up? And I said, yes. Why? He said, just check page 42 of the manual for me. So I checked page 42 of the manual. He said, does the photo of the EDAC connector, does that say view of front of EDAC or view of back of EDAC? I said, it says view of front. He said, oh, it should say view of back. I wired the whole thing up backwards. So channel 1 was channel 2, channel 3 was channel 4, everything was out of phase.
Brilliant.
And I was like, oh. So I was and it took weeks to just unsolder all of that and start again. So when you said this has got Dante in it,
Yep.
I was like, yes,
Done.
yes,
Right,
I can
sold.
plug it into my phone and record some
Absolutely.
stuff.
Also, does it mean that it's going to be, say, if I got the 96 channel because I got a football pitch to fill does it mean that Dante is upgradable, is it scalable?
So when you buy a console, it comes with the Dante.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. So there's not an option.
You can take the Dante away,
Oh, but it comes with it. It's not an extra.
It's more of a.
Oh, wow.
If you don't want the Dante, we can take it off. You'll save a little bit, but we aren't coming back to plug the Dante back in if you change your mind, because it is inherently. The infrastructure, even though it's on D-sub cables, is wired into the power supplies. So it's not a field option.
Yeah.
So essentially, for every 32 channels, you'll have 64 I/O.
Yeah.
I think for the 24 channels and the 48 variances, I think you've got a bit of room to patch extra bits and pieces you need to onto that Dante network. So the 16-channel version will come with 32 in, 32 out, and that allows you your direct outs off, your return channels back on from this sub mix bus, which I actually need to go back and talk about, and then you've got your master section. So you've got all of your Q sends, your master section, all of that is back on the Dante as well. So you've got direct outs, your buses, your Q sends, your masters, and then return for your Spartal mix bus. And that is the other thing we didn't discuss. So on this 32 channel console, you've got your 32 channel sort of inputs from your Michael lines, which obviously you can choose as you need to on the Dante patch. But on the top, we've got our return. Now, what that is essentially another 32 channels that can be injected into the mix bus for 64 to the mix bus off of that point. Or if you want to do it where we have the playback and the line input and then the monitor return, you've got
96 input
to mix bus before you hit the buses. So you could also patch into the insert return of the buses and then bring in stereo channels as well. So it's so flexible.
Yeah.
And again, this is all on Dante. So
Cat 5.
Cat 5 and you're away. So the way you would sort of spec it in your Dante would probably be you'd have one setup for mixing, one setup for recording. Because it is only 64 I/O, you'd have to change your mix bus return for Spartal compared to your return bus. But I mean, that's as easy as flicking a setting over in Dante controller.
Yeah,
so
it's a preset.
It's a preset.
Yeah.
So infinitely flexible. And then you can just keep resetting your presets in Dante controller for however you want. So if you've done some Dante insert points, which are again on the Dante network that you can add to in any Dante infrastructure, you can use it as a digital patch bay and then just save your setting and then recall it as and when you need it.
So effectively, in the box, is a self-contained studio.
Yeah. Plug in some speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, that's all you
If
need.
only we knew some manufacturers, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go. So,
Can we hear it?
no.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, you can't judge me on the mix because, like I said, it was perfect when I walked in, and then someone just
someone
messing
came
around.
in.
We've got our obviously we can push into the mix bus, and then we've got faders here. Now, the mix we're listening to was all tracked on this console.
Right, okay.
So it's all the mic pre's are straight up Harrison. There's a little bit of outboard, but you just feel them weight. So let's find our... This was a ribbon mic, straight into the mic pre with the EQ. No other processing. And you can just feel the weight and the texture.
That, yeah.
I love all the visual feedbacks. No, genuinely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big face. What does that mean?
Why is there a button that's called Light Show?
Well, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go on.
Press it.
Yes.
Vegas, baby.
Take my money.
Vegas, baby.
I mean, obviously, we've got to calibrate your ballistic, so every now and again, just keep
Brilliant.
everything nice and fresh.
So, I'm sorry, I'm going to sound very arrogant. I was lucky enough to work on big consoles, great consoles, smaller, whatever you want to call them. This is one of the things that have impressed me the most for what you get If it makes, of
In
course,
a
if you
console.
pay 600 million pounds or dollars or whatever currency you want to use, you're gonna get an impressive product. But I must confess, I had a look last night at how much these things come out at,
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe that you can get all of this for that amount.
With the interface and all of that built in. And,
Yes.
And, yeah. And that's the thing. It's like there's the price of it, but you've also got to backwardsly remove your patch bay, your interface, and your cables on top, haven't you? Right?
It's not just the stuff you get with it; it's the stuff you don't have
need.
to get. Yeah.
Right, I don't know. I've got no idea how much this costs because I didn't do my research before we came. So we might not put this in the video. But I'm going to guess for a 32 channel.
Harrison, 32 channels, not just a 32 channel.
I'm sort of comparing it in my mind for.
So transformer-based mic pre's,
yeah.
96 to mix bus,
a light show button.
a light show button, an extra mic pre in the middle
Yeah.
of the console,
yeah.
Atmos return
Atmos
monitoring,
ready.
Dante.
leather.
So it's going to be £5,000 a channel strip. There's 32 of them. That's 160,000 plus the Dante centre section, everything else. That's going to be at least another 20 grand on top. It's got to be 180 grand. I'm going to say 180 for a 32.
Woo!
That's 180 pounds.
£108.
Am I right in saying you're about 100 grand off?
Yeah, about that.
That,
And not the way you think.
Yes, that is
What?
my yes.
Yeah.
My math is crap, but it's about. This is about.
That's what we're
80.
audio engineers.
if I go above channel 64, I start flapping. Yeah.
Yeah.
5 figures.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to see the accountant.
Your own one or SSL?
Mary! Mary!
The reason why we can do this is obviously we bought it in-house to SSL. It's being manufactured alongside all of our consoles from the SSL stable. So it is, we've managed to bring so much value to this console compared to if it was just being small batch manufactured in Nashville. I think admittedly it would be a lot more expensive.
Right.
But the reason why we can do this is because SSL are one of the largest console manufacturers in the world, if not the biggest. I think arguably we're bringing a lot of tooling to this. We can turn them around quickly. You aren't waiting 6 months to a year for your console to be made and delivered. You can have this in a couple of weeks if you pay the deposit. It's not only that's the price. You can have this in any way you want. So we do it from 16 channels up to 96. Like I said, if you've got a football pitch to fill, you can
96 channel wrap around one of these.
but you could buy a 96 and have producer bays in the middle, 19-inch racks, or you buy a 48 channel bay with 32 channels in the center section, or you buy a 16 channel in a 24 frame and build as you go.
Yeah.
Like, it is completely customizable. And that's the nice thing is, like, an SSL for the most part via sort of the pro stations come as the way they're made. But if you need something bespoke, if you're a new studio and you want something that's just for you, you can spec this how you want.
Yeah, and I can see me sitting here with my UF8, which I can't live without. Just loads of those across the
And
front,
this is-
and then press the 0 dB button on the faders, and then you can do your automation in the box. And
Four UF8s,
Yeah.
UC1 and UF1, easily fit that in here, and you're away. You are literally the master of all.
beautiful. Can we hear the filters? Please. Yes.
So let's go
Right.
back to... Nice. So filter in. Gone.
What? What? Eh?
So shout out to Sam Barth, who every time I come and do a demo in here rushes in and puts the filters in. So when I come to demo, it's like, I can't hear anything. It's always the
He'll
filters.
do that.
They will do that.
Sam, you naughty man.
But yeah, it's there. But it's like, so you find that sweet spot,
Insane.
EQ in, and you.
Here we go. You're
And we're clipping the master, but you've got
And
the
who
transformers.
cares?
But it
Yeah.
sounds
Who
great,
cares?
right? Like, and obviously we've got transformers on the master as well, which are. It's there, but you can hear it, can't you?
You can hear it.
So it invites you just to push it. I've not heard a console with low end like this. And this, the other thing actually is worth sort of talking about, is because we can bypass the pans, we can bypass the EQs and filters and everything, the linear phase of this console means that mono is mono. You take all the pans out and you don't have any deviation from left and right. So that means the low end is solid. It is just so coherent in the low end, and it makes the top end feel really bright and wide when you are sort of finally engaging those pans by keeping the kick, the bass, the vocal centered. You just get so much width and separation from that linearity in the low end that, okay, yeah, we all know the in the box mixing sounds good. You can do it, but it's not the same, is it? Like, you don't interact with it in the same way. You don't.
It's not an instrument.
It's not
Is
fun.
it? It becomes. This becomes your instrument.
Yeah.
And you can. And once you develop your muscle memory, you're not looking at anything. You're just grabbing things, intuitively tweaking, and I think that's it. That's something I actually really miss. I haven't had a console for about 10 years, and didn't miss it at all at first because of recall and stuff like that. But now I'm like,
but it's like
really kind of miss just having.
Well, 80 grand, mate. Go on.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, I
mean, it's like, but take out, you bypass the faders, you send everything out via monitor level, and the inline mode actually, so that's worth something discussing, is this is an inline console without being SSL inline. Yeah. So what we're working in now is classic mix mode, where the monitor return is coming through the EQ, goes to the fader, off to the mix bus. But we've got a button at the top here where we bring it into inline mode. And now what is happening is the mic pre, or the line input, is being sent off to the direct out, going to our DAW. Now the monitor return is coming in on the fader. So now our monitor return is feeding into the EQ and then feeds the mix bus. So we are sort of now able to control that monitor level return as if we were talking long fader, short fader. So we can switch between the modes, whereas now this is input to mix, and then if I hit the right button, now we're monitor line mode. So it is super flexible, and it works in a very modern way that way around. Yeah. Because a lot of people don't necessarily want to commit on the way in. Yeah. So now you can make all those adjustments in post without sort of making any destructive changes. Or if you do want to work destructively, then it's fine. We just work in mix mode, and now we just take the direct outs from the insert points, and away you go.
And you know
why did we get the duality?
Well, because this wasn't available.
But you wanted a sidecar, right? Perfect sidecar.
Yeah, you
for
need
a drone.
track on this.
Track on this, mix on this.
You know what? I'd never solo on this. I'd just do that with every channel I didn't want, because that is such a beautiful. It's like.
But this is a nice segue, right? If you haven't got the space for one of these, we do now have the Harrison MS, the mix strip. So we've got the mix strip. So
let's have a look at that.
You'll see down here, because we don't need to interact with it. We can just talk about it.
Genuinely, Andrew, I'm mind blown by this. For God's sake.
So,
and it's not just getting back to this again.
It's not hot.
Man's not
It's
hot.
not even really vaguely warm.
No. And we've got three very handsome men in a room with us, and it's still
one there,
doing a crew.
And you. Yeah,
it is built with modern workflows, and it is well ventilated, and it's surprising it's lighter than an Origin given its size.
Is it really? Wow.
Right.
It won't fit in the car, but it could fit.
I'll manage. Don't you worry about it.
But like we were saying, if you do want this sound, the mix strips are completely an embodiment of the channel strip.
They look as cool as this.
They sound as cool because they sound beautiful. And you've got the same EQs, the same filters, the same mic pre, and the same bus architecture. So what we can do is take 8 of these and use the sub-routing matrix to daisy chain them into a stereo mix bus.
Oh, wow.
So perfect for sidecars to dualities and AWSs and Origins if you wanted that transformer-based sound.
There we go.
And I want this. the whole package.
So it's just like...
Yeah. That's great.
And and they honestly, I'm I think they're incredible, and they're a bargain. Like,
How much?
well under £2,000 for a single channel.
Okay.
But we're talking comparable sort of sound to any transformer-based mic pre that might be popular elsewhere.
Out there, yeah.
Yeah, you sounded very BBC. Yeah. Other brands are available.
Other brands are available,
But not at that price and sounding like that.
No. And yeah, they sound fantastic. But also we have to talk about the 500 series. So we've got a 500 series rack here. Now that is Dante enabled. So stick this on our Dante network in a wider range, and we've got all of our 500 series compressors.
So we're talking, so the actual rack power supply unit thing.
Cat5 out of that into your
Cat5
network,
out of that.
and now it's on the patch, and you can patch it in anywhere. So we've got a 10 slot 500 series rack. So and from Harrison you can have the 32, the mic pre, the 32 channel. It's the same mic pre out the console with the filters, the best bit.
Your favourite
My
bit.
favourite bit. So mic pre and filters, and then we do an EQ, which is a slight different in EQ. So it's actually taken off the classic MR3 Harrison console. So that's another very famous sort of early Harrison console, 3-band EQ. So we've got that as a nice option if you do want something a little bit more musical, maybe a different flavour of EQ, they're available. And then we've also got the compressor, which is a very basic VCA compressor, but very versatile, very musical sounding. So it's, some might describe it as a safety compressor for tracking. Like, you just want to make sure but it's so much more than that. It's like wicked on vocals, just to sort of give a real pumping effect. It can be very subtle, it can be very aggressive. Very different than like an E-Dyne or like a duality compressor channel. And stick them in your rack, in your 500 series rack, and there you've got them anywhere you want. Sub quarter of a millisecond conversion time, so a lot of live engineers are taking these out. Like, it's like there's no latency.
What?
And then we've got the summing rack, so we can take any of these channels and mix it down into stereo. So you could have a custom built Dante based 500 series channel strip. So you can have your mic pre, your EQ, your compressor filled with SSL or Harrison modules or whoever else you want to sort of bring your 500 series from, and away you go. So so we're bringing Harrison audio is classic meets contemporary. So it's classic channel strips, classic sound, classic technology in future forward thinking sort of platforms.
Yeah,
I love that.
It's not, as we said at the beginning, it's not a clone.
It's not just let's dig up that.
We don't
thing.
need the 50th version of the same EQ or compressor, right? We need something that's but it's not sterile. It isn't.
Oh, no,
modern
not at all.
stuff has a tendency to be very clean, right? It's like, this is transparent, and that's great. And
if that's what you want. Yeah.
I mean, that's what we thrive on with SSL, super analog. You want clean, but sometimes you just want a bit of grit.
Yeah. You want that transformer kind of mojo.
These go from gritty to smooth texture, sort of roll off in the top end, and everything in between.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very impressed. Thank you very much for showing
mate.
us this beastie. And I think we should probably chat to you about maybe trying to do a review of a couple of the channel strips.
And a discount on this.
Discount on this first of all. But do you know a good studio we might be able to do a review in? No. We'll find one.
Well, maybe around Essex.
No.
Okay. Well, you sort that out then.
Okay. Because I'd love to do some recording with a couple of those and
a couple of those.
and a couple of these.
Rack of 8 of those drum sort of sidecar. There you go.
Listen, I came here to have a good time, not to regret my life choices, not to be a millionaire. Okay? So genuinely, I am mind blown by this thing, and the whole Harrison thing.
Yeah, this is great. As soon as I walked in, I fell in love. But now you've taken us through it. And
it looks nice. It sounds.
It
better.
does look. It looks amazing. It's a big beast, isn't it? I love it. I think it's brilliant, and it's less than half the price I thought it would be, which is.
Well, it means you can afford a 96.
I can go for a 96. For stereo
really,
mastering.
If you are opening a studio and you've got £100,000, I know it's not very privileged position and blah blah blah. Are we close to the no-brainer kind of territory?
Well, you could spend that on conversion, couldn't you? And a monitor controller and...
If you're building a studio of the scale of the clients that you're going to be bringing and using this in, 100 grand over a couple of years of financing your consoles, nothing, right? It is.
And as you said, you don't have all the wiring, all the patch bay, and that's.
And like I said, it's not running that hot, so you haven't got then the machine room cooling and all the other stuff.
Well, is it one IC at the end?
That's it.
And one little 9-volt transformer for the router, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So 9 volt for your router, 13 amp, done. Plug and play.
I think we are well into the no-brainer territory here.
Yeah.
So tracking room, mix room, SSL duality, and one of these, and then you're away, right?
Andrew, I'll ring you right away.
Luke, thank you very much.
No, thanks,
man,
Jimmy.
thank you.
Yeah, great. Love it.
Before we leave, sorry.
Zero
dB,
Quick's my mix.
Null everything.
The filters.
Best bit.
So you can check this out on SSL's website, or I guess Harrison Console's website as well. We'll put the links in the description. And you have to see this to believe it, because it's great, and you have to hear it to believe it as well.
So if you do want to hear it, we'll put a link in for the session we recorded on the console. So it's Harrison to the World.
Yes, please.
Where we tracked an entire band in 3 days on the console, and everything you hear literally came through this console in this room. So that is like the truest version that you're ever going to sort of hear of that. So yeah, definitely check that out.
Brilliant. Luke, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wicked.
And we'll see you very soon from another room.